So in this part 3, we're going to look at some more practical tips on how you can improve conversations with clients. So first of all, how should you start a conversation with a client?
I think that based on the idea that a lot of accountants will often have a relationship where a lot of the conversations previously have been transactional, it's important not to just suddenly start a new approach because it may seem strange to a client. And so I think the introduction and setting up is really, really important. And really it's about a couple of things. It's about outlining what your role is, like we said before, why you're there and what they should be seeing you as a consultant, as someone to help grow their business, and that's your focus, really sharing your why, as we talked about before, and the belief that you have. But the other side of it is sharing with them that you want to really understand their business, that you want to explore things with them, and telling them the benefit of it. So for them, the benefit will be that they can help to drive their business forward, or avoid mistakes, or make savings of time or money. So really it's about 3 things. Sharing the role, why you're there, what your belief is. 2 is outlining what the conversation is going to be. It's about understanding their needs, what they need to achieve, what challenges they've got, and it's about the outcome, what they get out of it. Set out those 3 things, and pretty much every client will be very, very encouraged by that and be very comfortable having a conversation with you.
Okay, and how do you get the client talking, particularly about challenges?
Yeah, it depends on the relationship you've got. Again, some companies aren't that comfortable talking about what's wrong, but as long as the role's been set out and they know that you've got the same objective as them, it's not as difficult as it may sound. The main thing that you really need to do is understand, as we mentioned in a previous video segment, that you are there to solve problems. You're there to help push their business forward. And the easiest thing you can really do is to, before you go into any conversation, is to brainstorm what discussion areas you want to have with them, what challenges you know that you can overcome, and bring up those into conversation. So share with them experiences other people have had and ask them how they're affecting them. Focus on their objectives, what they're looking to achieve as a business, what results are important for them. Focus on what's stopping them getting there, what they would like to be able to do. All of these types of areas of discussion are massively powerful and beneficial for the client, but for you, they allow you at the next stage to share ideas about how you can help.
And what should accountants be telling them?
In terms of the telling, I think it's an important bit, because what can happen is if you purely go in based on questions, open questions, which I'd always recommend, so starting with who, what, where, when, why and how, not just closed questions, it could become worst case scenario a bit like an interview, and that's going to feel quite strange for a client. So you do need to be sharing things as much as you can as you go through. They want to learn things, they want to be taught things. And so what should you be telling them? Really, it's about what you've learned. They're a person within their company, but they haven't got the experience you have of working with all these other companies and seeing the mistakes they've made and learning from those mistakes. And what you should be really telling them is what's happening in other companies, what outcomes you've seen, what mistakes you've seen people make. Using stories is so powerful, and there's a really interesting stat that says that stories are 22 times more memorable than statistics and facts. So by sharing stories about other companies in terms of outcomes and challenges they've had, it sticks with people, it resonates with them, and it really makes them think differently.
Excellent, thanks. And when having conversations with clients, what's the biggest mistakes you see happening?
I think one of the biggest mistakes I see with accountants is assuming that you already know the answers. Now, it might well be true that you often do, but your client still needs to be feeling like they're understood. They need to have the opportunity to talk. So even if you do know the answers, let your clients come to the conclusion. Let them tell you what they need, as opposed to just you stepping in and assuming that. And I think the other one, and this is absolutely not just with accountants, but is listening. And what I mean by that is we think we listen, but often we just listen for what we want to hear. And we miss all the good information. We miss how they're saying it. We miss what they're not saying. Properly listen, be curious and attentive to what your client is saying, and they will feel that and they'll share more with you. With that information, you can help them in a much better way.
In this video, we've heard how to run the conversations, and in the next video, we're going to look and see how we can make the conversation as powerful as possible.